everybody. Welcome back to another weekly market review for F45Trading.com. This week we are discussing Monday, May 10th to Friday, May 14th, weekly look ahead. Hope you guys all had a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, of course. It is Sunday currently at the time of this recording. Trying to get this one out a little bit earlier than I normally do. I had a little bit of free time here today, as the wife and kids are all occupied with activities at the moment, so I had a little bit of time to jump on here and do a quick rundown into the markets for what I'm thinking is going to happen going forward this week. Now, just real quickly here, taking a look at the economic calendar, not too bad, not a ton of landmines, some stuff you want to be aware of. Governor Bailey speaking for the pound sterling on Tuesday. And Wednesday, speaking as well, too, we have CPI news for the US dollar. We've got a French and German holiday on Thursday. I don't think we're going to see too much, it affect the euro too much. And then Bank of Canada governor speaking, and then just a whole bunch of medium impact news events, and wrapping up the week with core retail sales on Friday. So a couple of good news drivers that should push the markets in our favor. And let's jump into it and see what we've got. So obviously, U.S. dollar, I was ultimately short. This was the target, 90.25. You guys can go back to last week, obviously, and you can see this little shaded area here that I have. And I said I want to see price run below this low here and possibly extend down to this 90.25 with the potential of it dropping down to about 90.15, which is pretty much just a stop run underneath this low rate here by about 20 pips, and that's almost exactly what we got there. So price delivered beautifully. Now, the only thing that occurred, which I did not anticipate, was them not really running these highs out. To be honest, I mean, technically, the high 91.45 and 6 pipettes, 91. Sorry, what did I say? 91. High is 91. 416, 91419. So technically it got above the high by 3 pipettes. This is just on this particular broker. I don't know, obviously, you know, check your brokers out and maybe get a comparison as well too. As you all know, I definitely like to compare notes with when it comes to different data feeds from different brokers. So you may have a big stop run above. In my case, it was very, very minimal, almost equal highs, I'd go to say, venture to say. And some of you may not even have this high here from last Wednesday, taking out these old highs at all. Nonetheless, I was expecting a little bit higher of a run above here, and I said I was watching this little consolidation right here. If we got through that, we'd probably end up in there, but more than likely we would see price shoot above and then roll over, and that's technically that's exactly what we got, except that I was expecting to go a little bit higher. So that's all, but ultimately, end of the week turned out the way that I wanted it to. Now, this is the million-dollar question where we're at here. So price really drove down. This was actually on the heels of some weak economic data for the U.S. dollar. We had NFP numbers come out on last Friday, and it was actually the unemployment numbers that really hit home and came to roost, and they did not anticipate the recovery that the numbers forecasted, and the actual numbers were way less, and so that's obviously what led to the capitulation lower on the dollar. So I honestly was not expecting a one-day range to drop in that much, but we still got the target range. So hopefully you guys made some money last week on this, and obviously going long on euro and cable and into Australian dollar. I know our members definitely got a piece of this action here this week, last week. So this week ahead, this is the million-dollar question. So did we come back and slam down into here just to reverse and go higher? You know, we have a couple of potential trend lines here that were broken. Run here, run there. We dropped through that there. We ran this old low here, and there's a heavy amount of support in this area. I honestly don't believe price will roll over and make a new low, and we should drop this guy down to there. Ultimately, I think there's not a lot that's going to save the U.S. dollar. I think longer term, we're probably going to see this roll over. However, now that we've left relatively equal highs up here, this is definitely a concern for me. I don't know that we could never come back up to here. Don't get me wrong. And if we take out this low here, I don't think we're going to be coming back up to there anytime soon. You know, maybe if we start working our way down here and they run those lows and then snap price back higher, but I think we're probably bound to go lower on dollars. So, but ultimately this week, what I would like to see, the US dollar is about to open here in about 10 minutes from the time of this recording. It hasn't quite opened yet, but you can see euro and some of the other foreign currencies have started to trade at the time of this recording. So I'll show you that and how they've opened up. But I'm expecting US dollar to shoot back a little bit higher and then have another run lower. So that's what I'd like to see this week. Ultimate target, I'd like to see if we can get down to the 89.70 level or this exact low, which comes in at 89.68. You know, you could call it 89.70 just for a nice round number, but ultimately I'd like to see if we can get below this low here. Now, we just swept the major area. You know, this thing could just keep on shooting lower, or we could just sit here and just kind of stack in this area for a little while. Look at, and just, you know, have a look right where we're currently at how much time price has spent in this range. Right in here. Sorry, I'll just maybe make that color a little bit darker. Maybe not that dark. Let's go this one. So you can see that there. We spent a lot of time trading, consolidating in this exact area that we're in right now. So it honestly wouldn't surprise me if we just bounced in this range here for, I don't know, maybe a few days, a week, who knows. Ultimately, I'd like to see lower prices. I'd like to see us come down underneath this low here. But don't be surprised if we start trading higher into the week. Maybe rebalance in, I'll zoom in a little bit, maybe rebalance up in this range here a little bit, maybe the lows of these candles, and then start to trade over. That's more than likely the scenario that I'm looking for, but keep in mind, we spent a lot of time working in price here. They could very well do that right in here again and just spend a lot of time in here and just ultimately to maybe go back up here. Who knows, okay? So just be cautious. I'd like to see lower prices. I don't want to see price go all the way back up into this consolidation range again. I'd like to see them stay below this swing low here if possible. So the 90.45, 90.50 level I think would probably be a good area to kind of look for some potential run higher up to, and then a possible reversal going lower. EurUsd, we had a couple of targets on the week. One of them, 121.60, got that on Friday beautifully. And then the ultimate you know, lower target was obviously it didn't want to come back down into. I said watch this consolidation level here. If we start to go through this level here, that would be the target to the downside. And you can see they dropped below this low here. And again, this is the difference between euro and US dollar. You can see an obvious run below that low there versus the US dollar, where, right, I mean it's relatively equal. So very, very weak on the part of the dollar versus EurUsd, how we wanted to run that low, dip below that, get all the sell stops, and then they hammered price higher. So again, hopefully you guys got a piece of that last week. I know our members did, and going forward this week, I'd like to see prices run higher. More than likely, we're probably going to see them cool off. Now you can see here, this is the Sunday candle that's just opened up. That's, you can see, I'll maybe go down to a 15-minute. You can see we opened up here, and then now we're just kind of sitting sideways. But ultimately, I'd like to see them come down into this level here, either the body or the wick high of that candle there from a week and a half ago, and then ultimately do this. My target going forward, I'm looking to see if we can't stretch up to the above this high here. So about 22.40 on the upside. Probably will extend a little bit higher, maybe up to 22.60. So we'll see if we get that. But this range in here was our target, basically just right above that high. And we got that very, very handsomely last week. So congratulations if you were part of that. And again, looking for higher prices. I don't want to see them have to go all the way back down into this consolidation range. I'd like to see them stay above these body highs here. So I'm going to take this, move that up into there, and just say we could shoot down into there, but I'd like to see them see some support into that area in there. And maybe even right around the 121.15, 121.20 level, somewhere in there. It'd be about a drop of about 40 pips for Monday, and then a punch higher Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we'll see if we get that. GbpUsd, a little bit messy in here, as I mentioned to you guys. I thought for sure we were going to take out these levels here last week with that interest rate decision for the pound. We didn't, though. This was the interest rate decision, and really price didn't go anywhere. It took NFP to finally shoot price up into there. This is going to get run out without a problem. I honestly believe we're probably more than likely going to see 140.70 to, well, probably 140.80. I'll put on the level here as a target. Almost getting up into here. I think we're about 6 pips away, about 5 pips away from the high getting breached last week, and we're just at it right now. So again, similar to EurUsd, I'd like to see them come back down a little bit, staying above these highs. So I don't want to see them come and work down into the wick, for instance, on Thursday. It could come down, touch off of that wick high, and then resume its course higher. That would be the ideal scenario. So we'll see if we get that going into this week here. 140.80 is my target, and a potential range of, 130, 140 pips to the upside if we get a downward trajectory there. And it could keep going. Don't get me wrong. There could be a lot of bullish activity on cable. We did come down and just very briefly sweep below those lows there, so that range would be completed. And then obviously you can see the unwillingness to go lower. But the move was definitely in euro. Look at the upward trajectory on euro, and look at GBP, really just in a tight range. Now I would expect going forward, you look at this huge range higher on GbpUsd. We really haven't got that. Again, more of a consolidated range. So it's about time that they started to let the euro USD pair move in relation to cable. But I think eventually cable will start to catch up and start running again. So we'll see what we get. I'm looking for that target for the week, and we'll see how that changes, if it does. Australian dollar, it hit my target on the week as well too. Right up here was this high that I was looking for, run above this short-term consolidation, and I wanted to see how deep they wanted to go. Did not want to see them trade back down into here. And you can see we had one trade right back into here on, I believe that was Tuesday, and price never looked back. We had 3 straight up days. Beautiful to see. Hopefully you guys got a piece of Australian dollar. It was very, very easy to trade, and this hit my target. So going forward, we now need to move the range and set our sights higher. I think up here will be the intended target, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to get up there this week or anything like that. Similar to euro and cable, I'd like to see them drop down a little bit lower for Monday, and then hopefully Tuesday or Monday evening, we could kind of set that low somewhere down in here, and it could trade anywhere into this range. I'd be looking for price to come down into. I'll change this color so it's to a green, so it's more of a target than a stop level. So I'm looking for that, and then an ultimate run higher. Do we get all the way up to this high? I don't know. That's way up there. 200 pips certainly could on Aussie. We've had a lot of consolidation in here, and they could now finally let this pair run. But I'll leave that up to the markets to decide, and hopefully we can get an entry somewhere in this level in here. But we'll see. I don't want to see them go back into the consolidation range, so if you do see that, be cautious, because they could want lower prices. But I think we've sort of set the direction more going forward where we're going to see price move up into. UsCad, I have to go all the way back to a monthly chart to get these old lows in here that we're starting to dial in on. We had price last, well, this is a monthly range, monthly candle right there, really dive below those 2 equal lows there, took out the stops, and now I think there's a chance we could run out this low here. But watch out and just be careful with UsCad, because this has definitely been a very unpredictable pair. Hasn't been my favorite pair to trade lately. And if you look at this old high here and then this old high, we failed to get above that, and price never looked back and just dropped to the downside. The same thing could happen. Technically, this thing is still in a consolidation long term. We're not in a big trending range like this. Yes, we've seen some decline here, but we could hammer down into this low and go straight back up the other way. So just be careful with UsCad at this particular point in time. If we start to see US dollar really make a run for these lows here, then I think UsCad will probably continue to fall lower, and I'd like to see them try to run for this low here. But just be careful on what we're looking at here currently with UsCad. You know, there's no guarantees. I'm just moving this down now under this low here. That is probably the next target going forward. No guarantees on here. We've already had a very extended range. A lot of RSI indicators would be pointing to this thing being oversold, so which means this thing could certainly make a bit of a retracement. I don't know if it's going to happen. It could continue to fall. I just don't necessarily like where it's at personally. But I do think we're probably going to try to attack these lows here this week. But more than likely what it would do would be to shoot higher up into this range here and then possibly punch lower. So we'll see if we get something like that going into this week. I don't like how that's a little bit better there. So we'll see what happens there on UsCad. But just be careful at this range. That's all I'm saying is be careful. Price is really extended. We could certainly continue to extend lower, but I'm just saying it's really, really sold off here. So some consolidation or, in fact, some retracement would probably be in order and more than likely expected in UsCad. But take it with a grain of salt. Finally, crude oil and gold. Obviously, crude oil still continuing its upward trajectory. I don't like how all of these lows are perfectly setting up like that. You can see a bit of a trend line in here. More than likely, they're going to dump price. We have these equal lows under here that have been waiting for them to take forever, and it just has been in here, I wanted to see price shoot below and then run higher. That, in my eyes, would have been a very easy maneuver higher and a buy and a hold to go long on gold indefinitely, or excuse me, on crude oil indefinitely. But it's a mixed bag out there. There's recovery, and then there's a lot of news of non-recovery, and the draw on crude oil versus the you know, the non-activity. It's a tough one to gauge. So I'm thinking we're probably going to see prices run a little bit higher. We just eked above this high here, and the last 3 days kind of went sideways to lower on crude oil. We'll move the target up to here to 67. About $68 a barrel it'll probably reach up to, so I'll leave that up there. And then again, we got to go back way back in here. We have an old high up into here that we could possibly run back up into as well. So just be careful on crude oil. This thing could still dive lower, sweep below all these lows here, and then still remain bullish and run potentially above this high here. So it's a tough market, crude oil. Commodities should continue to stay bullish if US dollar goes lower, which we all know that. So as long as US dollar stays weak, we should see oil go higher. Same story goes with gold and silver. You can see we had a nice run on gold and silver. I don't have a silver chart up, but you can check that out in your own time. Nice 3 up days coming off of this consolidation. Hopefully they'll give us a chance to get back involved. I'd love it if price would come back into this range here, give us a buy, and then another run higher on gold. That would be a beautiful trade, but be very, very careful on gold. Look at these equal lows under here. You know my thoughts on equal lows, folks. They always typically leave those as a target. They build in sentiment and let everybody get long, and then they jam their stops up under here, and then they sink the market. So are we going to get that on gold? We'll see. You know, in here again, equal lows right here for this run up, and they're slowly coming back for that. And I think they gave everybody a little bit of a break, not coming down to those lows here. They're sucking them in. We could see another run lower on gold. Be careful. I'd like to see this happen with the ultimate target running above these highs this week, but we'll see. That's a little bit of a ways away. We'll see if we get an entry. And we'll see what this week gives us. I am bullish, though, and I'd like to see us have higher prices towards the end of the week, and maybe see if we can't get up to that 1875 level. That would be my target on gold if we see a continuation lower in US dollar, higher in foreign currency, higher in oil, higher in gold. Let's see what we get. I hope you guys all have a great week this week. Be careful out there. There still are a few news drivers. It could get a little volatile. We'll see what happens. And don't discount that US dollar could consolidate at current locations. So it may not be a super stellar week as well, too. So don't go mortgaging the house on every single trade that you do this week. Keep it conservative. Go easy, and good luck to you guys this week. And for everybody else, I will talk to you this time next Sunday. For all my members, I will see you back in the chat room as always tomorrow, New York Open. Hope you guys have had a great weekend. Happy Mother's Day again, and we'll catch up to you next time. Thanks for watching.